Right. So, welcome to the Caitlin Coaches VIP group, Doing Over Drowning subscription launch. Was that enough words? The program is called Doing Over Drowning because not because like doing is the most important thing and like productivity is above everything else and hustle culture, blah, 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 blah. Right. But this program is for serial givers, and givers want to do things for people, right? They don't want to be stuck drowning in confusion and overwhelm and worry. You want to be out there giving because you're a giver, right? I call it, I very purposefully chose the word serial givers as opposed to like chronic givers or over givers, because there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you, and you're not doing it wrong unless you decide that it's not working. So maybe you have a job that is very like demanding, like requires that you give a lot of yourself, like a teacher or a nurse, or some of the first things that come to mind, or a stay-at-home mom where like people need things from you a lot, right? And you probably chose that job because you want to give a lot, right? And so then you go home and maybe you have a family there who also needs you to feed them dinner or whatever it may be. Or maybe you don't live with your family, but they still need and require things from you, like older parents or little siblings. I don't know. You know where you're giving, right? And then there's those other couple things that you volunteer at your church or the PTA, or some kind of classes that you teach, or maybe you have a service-based side hustle where you want to help people and like maybe earn some money at the same time or something, right? You give and give and give and give and give. And like I said, you might not be an overgiver. You might feel that you have perfectly healthy boundaries, but like you have chosen that what you want to do with your life is give to others, right? And I think that helping other people and serving and giving in some way is the way to change the world and make it a better place. So I want to support you in doing that if you believe that too, right? So for me, the number one thing that coaching has helped me develop as a serial giver myself is developing trust and familiarity with my inner voice. So for me, my highest self has like a compassionate leader voice where I'm not being all harsh and demanding and judgmental of myself or others, but I'm also not like being a doormat and letting everybody do whatever or letting myself do whatever, right? It's like, okay, this is how you're feeling, and I empathize with that. And also, we're going to do this over here, and it's going to be okay, right? So that little voice in the back of your head is sometimes hard to identify and hard to listen to and hard to let them weigh in on the conversation. So, I mean, the first step is finding that inner voice for some of you, but then is developing trust in it and being able to come back to that as like a centering point when, like when you're making plans with others, when you're making plans with yourself, and when you're not sure what to do next. The very practical way that might play out is healthy boundaries with others, healthy habits because you're following through with yourself, and healthy self-talk. And healthy self-talk could spin into a lot of things, and not necessarily just when you are not sure what to do next. But I think I could have connected so many different situations to self-talk, right? But I picked when you're not sure what to do next, because I think when you're very others focused and a desire to be giving, then that ends up sometimes making you focused on seeking other people's approval or confirmation or wisdom. And maybe there's nothing wrong with that. And maybe it clouds your ability to tune into your own wisdom and your own desires. And what you approve of, right? So then if you're not listening to that inner voice, but it's still, it's still there, you're just spinning in confusion because what you're hearing externally from others and what you're feeling and like that little voice in the back of your head is saying is not matching up, and you can't move forward because there's no tiebreaker, right? It's letting your inner voice and be the tiebreaker and the decider and having that kind of agency over your life. So obviously in coaching, this is just going to be an overarching theme as we have super practical conversations. For example, I just got this email and now I'm dreading the fact that I have to do something about it, or I'd like to start exercising again, or I'm worried that I'm picking the wrong goal. And yes, those are sneak previews to the actual calls that you can listen to in the demo. So in the super practical conversations, my focus will be fighting the short-term fires that are right in front of you and getting really practical about problem solving, and getting you unstuck. I hate being stuck, and I became a teacher and then a coach because I love those aha moments where you finally get to move forward. And I seek those out in my own life all the time. But it's also, in my students when they're like, oh, this is how you do this math problem, or yeah, I just love when you get that little nugget of information that you needed, that was the tool to dig you out of the mud that you might be stuck in and be able to keep moving forward, right? So in having those super practical problem solving conversations, we will also be building long-term skills that you can apply over and over as problems inevitably continue to pop up, right? When you're giving to people, you're working with people, and working with people has its drama sometimes, right? That's just my thought about it, but I'm sure many would agree. So I want you to be able to stick with what you're giving to long term, or know that it's time to pivot to something else and be in a really healthy place to do that, and not be giving like stuck, continuing to give, but really resentfully, or not pivoting by just dropping out of everything out of exhaustion and burnout. Which is exactly what I did at the end of college, right? I loved everything I did in college. I had so many different things I was giving to and involved in, but I had very little ability to say no to things or plan my time. And so I just gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave. And then for a couple of years, I did absolutely nothing extra. I did not give to anything. That was where I learned how to use my no muscle, as Henry Cloud calls it. And you can do that. I mean, I came out the other side with a lot of skills and awareness that I just needed. But I do believe that there is a path of being a serial giver and giving a lot without all of that extra suffering. So I used to be the queen of pity parties. I'm super familiar with just that like resentful, a whole bunch of drama happening in my mind, but you have no idea, right? Until I have an outburst about something completely unrelated. Enneagram 9, anybody out there? And I also would just like totally spin in confusion and anxiety because I wasn't trusting myself, or like I just couldn't figure out what to do. And now the glorious thing is those things still happen because I am a human, and those are the patterns that my brain falls into. But part one, I don't beat myself up for it anymore. And part two, I notice it is happening, and I have those long-term skills to do something about it. And even like prevent it. Like today, we were having a meeting about our end of year award ceremony that we do at the after school program that I work at. And I like went to wash my hands or something. I came back and my boss was like, okay, so can you be on food? And I just straight up was like, I'm not a good person to put on food. And he's like, really? Why? I'm like, well, I can work through it, but I'm going to be all how much should I get? And like, which kinds of things? And what do we want, chips or cookies? Or do we need a healthy option? Like, and so just, I didn't even go into all of that, but just a couple examples. And he was like, okay, so I'll give you a budget and I'll help you with the quantities and you'll be on food. He has the boundaries where he's not going to just be like, oh, okay, we should never stress anybody out. He's like, okay, you need a little support. We're going to do that. But like, that was such a more authentic interaction than I would have had 7 to 10 years ago, where I would have just been like, oh, okay, I'm on food, and stressed about it for literally 3 months because the award ceremony isn't until April. And yes, just being honest, because the little voice in my head said, yeah, I should not do food, right? But now that, I have these coaching tools, I'm like, I know how to not spin in confusion anymore. This could be an interesting experiment. Let's try it. Sure. So what exactly will this look like, right? To develop trust in your inner voice, fight the short-term fires, develop the long-term skills. Like, what are we talking about here? What is the Doing Over Drowning VIP group, right? So right now it's a free demo mode. Okay. So the benefits, I say demo instead of trial because not all the perks are happening right now. But the benefits that start immediately are that you get archived calls. There are 8 of them right now, but I think you actually have access to all of the freebie group calls too. So if you haven't been in the freebie group, that's like 12 to 14 calls. Okay. So 90% of my growth as a human has been due to listening to other people getting coached, because we all have human brains. We all follow a lot of these same patterns. And in watching what somebody else's brain does, you can start to identify, oh, I do that too. Oh, that's a good name for that, right? And you get like a handle on what to call everything that's happening in your mind, right? So my Instagram name is Make Your Brain a Nicer Place to Live. And I would relate that to, I love Struggle Care on Instagram. I think she's Domestic Blisters on TikTok, but her name is Casey Davis, and she wrote a book called How to Keep Households Drowning. And she has just super practically, here's how you tidy, right? You get all the trash. You don't take the trash out. You get all the dishes. You find the things that aren't in their place and put them in their place. And you find the things that have no place, right? And so being able to declutter a room like that with just like those steps and those names for things is what I feel like I have learned to do in my brain. That it's like, okay, this is a story. This is a fact. The emotion that I'm feeling about it is XYZ. The actions that I'm doing is this, 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 and this. And the result that I'm creating is this, right? And so you can learn that by listening to other people get coached. Okay. So the archive calls are a great value to be in the program where we did those calls. That would have cost $60. And honestly, like I could charge more for it, right? Like it's very valuable information, and it's so good. I can't wait for you to listen to them. Anyway, the next benefit is half price private coaching. So I love group calls because so many people get to learn together, and you have even that sense of camaraderie that someone's commenting like, oh my gosh, I do the same thing, right? So you never need private coaching. But sometimes there's some topics where you just don't want a bunch of eyes on you, right? And so if you really, really want it, it's there. And the benefits of being coached directly, like there is a benefit to that because we can dig through all of your personal resistance of like what is happening in your brain until you feel free to move forward. And maybe sometimes all those questions don't totally get answered when it's someone else's brain, right? So those 2 things start right now. And then shortly here in February, I'm about to get the dates together for this, but I am doing a course called How to Manage Your Mind with all of the most common teaching kind of things that I do in coaching calls. I'm just putting them all in a series, which is kind of like your orientation for the Doing Over Drowning group. Because I'll be like, have you heard me talk about buffering? And you can be like, yes, and the how to manage your mind thing, right? Or like, do you know what the model is? And the model is kind of what I just hinted at, of like the names for all of everything that's happening in your brain, right? So in the free demo, you will have access to come to the calls. And my plan is to have those formats be like maybe 20 minutes of teaching, depending on the topic. Might be more, might be less. And then hopefully just coach like 1 to 2 people on those calls. So there is an opportunity to get coached on a group call within that course for free in the free demo. So exciting. And then you'll have access to 3 of the replays at a time. You know, remember how Hulu used to do that, that you had like the 5 most recent episodes? So that's how we're going to do the Manage Your Mind course. Plenty of time to listen to it, because the each call will be like a week apart. So you'll have time. And then in April, that is when the free demo ends and some other perks begin. And at that point, it'll be $34 a month. And you will have permanent access to the Manage Your Mind series, which is $29. And again, that is what you would pay for it. And I could have made it like buku bucks more. Because like I have a call that's how to eat exactly what you want to, and that's $19 in and of itself. So, but I wanted to make it accessible. It's one of my values here, to like make things accessible to people, which is why I'm giving you 2 months for free. And so at that point in April, you'll have permanent access to the Manage Your Mind call. We'll have 1 group coaching call a week. And you keep all of the half-price private coaching. You get the replays if you can't attend the calls live. And then I'm also going to do 1 text coaching day a month. So that's pretty fun. If you feel like there's just no way I can plan out 20 minutes to like schedule a time to sit down and get coached, I can coach you on the fly as you go throughout your day. It's fine. We can do it. So that is kind of the what. And now I'm going to share my screen and show you the how. Okay. Let's see here. Share this. My notes here. And then let's go over to, this is step 1. If you are in my freebie group already, then you need to go to this email that I sent you called Get Out of Here, Get Out of the Freebie Group. Because according to my platform, it says that if you're in the freebie group, you're getting a free trial. And you're not. You don't have access to the particular archived calls. So let's see. You need to go to this post, go to this email, go to this post, because getting to the post will get you to your account. And then you just log in. And then you verify your account. All right. If this is a device that you have not used before, easy peasy. Okay. So then you're in this post for serial givers to develop trust in your inner voice so that you can feel good while doing good. And that's not the part you need to be in. The part you need to go to is right here, where you need to go to settings, and you need to leave the freebie group. Okay. So if you go to change plan, it's going to want you to add a payment method and immediately go to paying for the VIP group, which I don't want you to do, because there's no like group coaching calls happening right now. I want you to just get to explore and see what's going on, right? So we're going to not do that. We're going to cancel plan. Goodbye. So sad. And I will get an email that says this person has left the freebie group. And I'll be like, I hope they find their way to can you just do it right here? I'm curious. Okay. Learn more. Yeah. So this will just take you back to the freebie group. Don't do this. Okay. So what you're going to want to do then is you go back to that email that I sent you that says, get out of here, and go to this link. It's also on my website. And this is the part where if you're not in my freebie group, you will just start here. You'll go to the link on my website, the link that I texted you, comment wherever you're watching this, and I will give you the link. Okay. I'll probably comment it on the thing before you do. Okay. So we are doing, this is the little drop-down box where you have the option to do a year and get 2 months free, or you can pay monthly and it's still very reasonable, right? You accept the terms of service of Podia, right? And join. And I just joined my own VIP group. So let's get in there and look around. So this is the announcement for this call that you're in right now. And then as you can see on the side, you have the freebie group coaching videos, you have VIP announcements and info, and VIP coaching calls. So you're going to want to focus on these if you've already been in the freebie group and you've already explored. So VIP announcements and info, this is where you get the secret link to the half price coaching sign up. So a short session is a 20-minute session, and a full session is 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how ambitious I am about digging into your thoughts versus actually ending on time. So that's where you can find that. Easy peasy. And then here are the coaching calls. Okay. So I titled them with the thoughts that we talked about. And then sometimes there's a little description down here as well. So there are 8 calls here, but like I said, if you have not been in the freebie group, there are so many more calls right here about many, many different topics. And you can see the evolution of how long my hair has been over the course of the past few months. I really want to get a haircut. All right. So those are the important things, right? And then I will probably create like a new topic over here that has the how to manage your mind stuff, what that is happening. I apparently have not made any posts about how to get started, but I will put this call in the get started area so that you can see exactly where to find things. So if you have any questions, please comment, because it is my goal overall in your life to get you where you want to be. And of course, that's also my goal within my coaching resources, right? So, oh, the other very important thing you're going to need to do before April 1st is you're going to need to go to settings and add your payment method. And there will be a couple emails reminding you and everything. But if you don't do that, then you lose access, and which is fine. You can sign up again. It's fine. But if you want to just keep it rolling, just add your payment method, and you'll be good to go to continue. You like how I call myself the boss here to continue getting all the great benefits. Okay. So if you have any questions, like I said, please let me know. If you have any friends who came to mind who you're like, oh yeah, they're definitely a serial giver who spins in confusion and needs just some support because they're doing so many great things, right? Let them know and invite them along. And maybe I'll even have an affiliate program here where you can get a little kickback on to knock down the price of your subscription, right? So all that to say, I'm so excited to see how you continue to grow and serve and give to the people that are important to you without losing yourself or your ability to show up the way you want to the places where you are, right? So the end. So glad you were here. Bye.